So, according to an article from the Huffington Post, the melting of ice caps is 10 times faster than it was 600 years ago. So this is the result of global warming, pollution, and other phenomena. So today we only need to pay attention to environmental issues, and everyone has a role to play. So according to an article from the Figaro, so the Figaro is a French newspaper, the article stated that France is the second world producer of nuclear energy. So consequently, France is directly concerned by these problems and should act to promote new innovative methods, less polluting. So first, I'm going to explain to you the change in French people's attitude. Then I will describe you which policies are leading from the government. And finally, I will talk about some green activism with 2 persons and 1 association. So, French people are today radically changing their attitude. They are more concerned about the environment. So, according to an article from Le Monde, another French newspaper, 52% of French people are today aware of sustainable development, against only a third in 2004. Indeed, they use less electricity, gas, energy to heat up, and they waste less water. Then more and more people are today recycling. So in 2012, there was 70%, and this figure is still increasing each year, year after year. Sorry. So in the daily life, French people opt more often for common carriers such as bus or subways. But today, more and more people use the bike that is not as routine as in the US. Here we have an example of a system developed in French cities. The name is Vélib. I don't know if you know, but it's a pun, so it's like free bike. And so people can rent a bike for a couple of hours, days or months, and use the bike as if it was theirs. So it's very cheap, practical, and helps reduce pollution. Moreover, today in France, so sales of electric cars are booming. And according to Other France, so Other France is the association for the promotion of electric cars in France, the sales doubled between 2012 and 2013. So French people are aware of the problems linked to environments, yet they cannot have an important influence on a large scale. So now please let's talk about the government who has more important impact. So France has a budget of 30 billion euros for the environment, and this budget is still increasing year after year. So this statement proves that today France is very concerned and wants to improve the things. So I think you know who he is. So this is our French President François Hollande. So he said in December 2012 at the Council for Environment, Social and Economic Issues that he wants to make France the nation of environmental excellence. So for that, he rests on a plan in 3 parts, which starting in 2010. So the first part, it's energetics transitions. So as I said before, so France is the second world producer of nuclear energy. So we want to be less dependent on this energy, which is also very polluting. And so France is developing programs for on fuel, biofuel, solar energy, windmill energy, and hydraulic energy, in order to be less dependent and less polluting, and so preserve the environment. So, however, France started reducing its emission of greenhouse gas, and the government plans on a 50% reduction for 2025. And in 2010, according to the Office of the Environment, France had already reduced its emission by 5.6%. Which means that France in 2010 was the 5th less polluting country in the European Union. The second part is biodiversity. So the French government wants to establish an office of the biodiversity and a council for the protection of the seas. And the government point is the prevention of environmental risks, because we have a very strict legislation for protecting the air, the ground, and the waters. In fact, France wants a better management for a better result. Because for the moment in France, people are still very, we pollute. In addition, the government in France exists ecological Green Party. So it is very important. This party has more and more seats in the European Parliament. They are 0 in 1994, 6 in 2004, and 14 in 2009. So even if it's for the European Parliament, it's very important because these persons are elected in France, and so that this result shows the change in French opinions. Yet I think that this party will never be elected in the presidential elections. They are here they are here to people keep focused on the environmental issues, and that's why they say, well, we're here in order you to not to forget the problems. Sorry. So each government, our French government, and political party has set up many processes to preserve the environment. But as you may know, it's difficult to change habits and give up such a system, especially in France. Yet things are improving, and France is making real efforts for environmental conservation. And now I would like to talk to you about some green activists and one association. So the most famous French green activist is José Bové. So José Bové is famous for his assumption of the position against GMOs. He was famous in 1999 with a case against McDonald's because at that time he vandalized one of the branch restaurants in protest against the beef meat raised in almonds. And you can see what happened to this restaurant. So nowadays he's famous because he fights against Monsanto's and his GMOs. And so in 2008 he snatched plantation in the Monsanto's field. Between 1998 and 2012 he went before the courts around 20 times. And yet he's a big defender of the agriculture, and so for the farmers he's a leader. So even if you can think he's violent, he's a good person for a significant part of the French population. So the second famous activist is Nicolas Hulot. So he's much more appreciated by French people because he's less violent, he's more pacific. He created his foundation, so his Foundation Nicolas Hulot for Nature and Mankind. So through documentaries, meetings, and sensitizations, Nicolas Hulot highlights the need for protecting the fauna and flora, reducing our energy consumptions, and turning from the most polluting methods. So as I said, his ideas are much appreciated, and in 2011 he was the 7th most preferred personality in France. Then we have a lot of ecological associations in France, but I think the most famous one is definitely Greenpeace, even if it's an international association. So how many of you know about the Warembourg case? Oh. So in fact, that's why Greenpeace is very famous in France, because in 1985 the government had sunk the Warembourg, on which Greenpeace had planned to drive an international protest against the French nuclear launches in the oceans. But it failed, and so that's why they are famous. And so the association participates in all the French ecological demonstrations, in all of them. So that's why they are very, very important. So now that you have some example of French activism, let's review. So I explained to you how French people's attitude are changing. We are more and more concerned by environmental issues. Then I describe which policies French government is leading, and I finally talk about green activism through 2 persons and 1 association. So people and governments, and we all need to consider it, especially in France. It is important to make this problem public because with the current crisis, especially in Europe, environmental issues tend to become secondary. So now I hope you will change your habits if you have not done yet, and I hope you have a better understanding of French actions. And so I would like to end with just a quotation that is very famous nowadays in France: "Go green."